Hey tubers, welcome back for another adventure. You guys may not believe this, but this is the first replacement plastic gas tank that I've ever bought. I have some bikes that they've come with, or I think I might have bought one used, but this is the first new one I ever bought, and I just want to share a few thoughts with you folks about it. So this gas tank was made by Wide Open, and it's for the TRX 250. It's for that guy over there, because the gas tank wasn't in very good shape, though we'll talk about that gas tank in a minute. I just want to a few things about these tanks. If you run out right out and buy the cheapest gas tank, you know, like the $99 special, in the case of this particular tank, you're going to get the gas tank. See that where a valve should be on the bottom? You don't get that, and you don't get the cap. Well, let me give you a hint. This is a Honda gas cap. Right? See the barbs on it? Right? This is a screw-on gas tank, so they're not interchangeable. So be careful when you're buying a plastic gas tank. Make sure you buy one that has everything you need. You not only need a plastic cap, this guy happened to come with the little hose that goes on the plastic cap, which is cool. It also came with a gas hose, which is also nice, and a fuel filter, which is nicer yet. Sometimes you'll get these things and they don't even include this little thing that goes on the bottom here. It looks like this. You bolt it on and then you thread the valve into it. Let me give you a hint. They don't put these on the bottom of Honda gas tanks. Honda gas tanks have pipe threads brazed right onto here. So if you don't get this, the tank is useless to you. So this is kind of like mandatory, unless you're replacing an old tank. But even with that, I'd recommend it as being mandatory. This one, I mentioned the fuel filter. It came with in the hoses, but it also came with a valve. So this was a $130 eBay deal. You can find them out there, which is very, very reasonable. So for the TRX 250, you could get a replacement gas tank fairly reasonable, and it comes with everything you need. $130 delivered right to the house. It's all good. For a bunch of these others, they are not that cheap. Particularly, I needed I'm looking for replacement gas tanks for TRX 200s, and they seem to be a lot more expensive and a lot less available, a lot less choice. They do make plastic ones, but they seem to be like 200 plus instead of 130 delivered. So just a quick thing. Generally speaking, if possible, I try to stick with the metal gas tanks. The reason why, I've had experience, if you leave gas in these things for long periods of time, you kind of find these dark brown epoxy-like deposits in your carburetor. It seems that, I don't know if the gas or the alcohol or whatever additives in the gas do leach some of the resins out of the plastic, and brings it to your carburetor, and if you let the carburetor run out of gas, you'll end up with this, I mean, it's really like an epoxy, like a brown epoxy. And it's rock hard. It's hard to get out of there. If it's in your jets or in the passages of the carburetor is done. And it seems that if you use the knockoff carburetors, the clone carburetors, the combination of clone carburetor and plastic tank, you really got to keep the gas stabilized, or you got to run them out of gas when you're not going to use them for a while. And the while used to be many months. It seems that the while has shortened itself down to, if you let the gas sit around much more than a few weeks, it seems with some of these clone carb and plastic tank combos, you could end up with having to do a carb rebuild. About this tank, I look at it as a $130 solution to dripping gas on the floor. It seems to be well made. It's a bit smaller than the OEM tank, and we'll talk about that in a few. It seems to be well made. The valve, the components, everything seems to be good. As you put the valve on here, don't over tighten it. Don't put the valve on there until you need it. If you kind of let it sit like this where it's resting on the valve, you'll eventually kind of bend the plastic, and then when you put gas in it, it'll leak. If you put it on there and whatever hose you use is putting a lot of pressure on it, sometimes it'll cause, once again, the plastic to deform and they will leak. I've had that trouble on some of the tanks. I've bought some of the bikes that already came with tanks. I've had a certain amount of better luck sealing this. If see the O-ring on the bottom, every once in a while I'll like, this is not great, right? I don't know if you guys could see that, but sometimes I'll put some of the Permatex Forma gasket, you know, the brown stuff that smells like shoe polish. I'll put a little bit of that around here, then put the valve on, or the flange to the tank, and that helps seal it. So what do I think? I mean, it's the right plastic replacement tank. I could put it on there. It'll work. It'll run. It'll do everything you need to do. But if at all possible, try to take care of your metal tanks and stick with them. But for 130 bucks, I mean, you're underneath the shroud anyway. The cap looks quite a bit like a Honda cap, though it's plastic. I don't know. Some people prefer plastic gas tanks. I do and don't at the same time. If possible, take care of your metal gas tanks, especially on the vintage machines. So, my review. You got to hold gas in something, so if your metal tank is shot, go for it. If your metal tank is still good, take care of it, and, you know, try to have your metal tank last as long as possible. Everyone, I want to thank you for watching these videos. Please share your opinions. If you liked it, please let me know. If you don't, please let me know that also. Remember, feet down, heads up, and get out and enjoy each and every day. Bye now.